Hello and welcome to Bryan Living and Learning. I'm Alan Brugman from the City of Bryan's Communications Department.
And I'm Sandy Ferris with Bryan ISD. Today we'll tell you about some Davila Middle School students who recently earned their yellow belt in the Kickstart Kids martial arts program, and we'll see how Bryan Athletics is dealing with sports-related injuries, in particular concussions.
And the City of Bryan will show you the latest building that's set to open up at the Texas A&M Health Science Center here in Bryan, and we'll recap how Mayor Jason Bianski did in the Mayor's Challenge, where he raised money for the Salvation Army. But before we get to those stories, we'll lead off with the 2010 award announcement of the Mayor's Downtown Impact Award. The 2010 Mayor's Downtown Impact Award was handed out, and this time there was a little twist. Attendees gathered at the Brazos Center for the city's volunteer reception, and they were entertained by a middle school ensemble group from Bryan ISD. And when it came time for the awards, they soon found out about a new honor called the Willie Bennett Spirit of Downtown Award. The first annual winner was Cody Marks Bailey. The Mayor's Downtown Impact Award was given out to two businesses, Casa Rodriguez Mexican Restaurant and Agnatech Technology Solutions. This was the 5th year in a row that two Impact Awards were handed out.
Well, congratulations to those award winners, and it's great to see that new award added to the event.
Yeah, the plan is to find a worthy recipient of that Spirit of Downtown Award each year and to pass it out at the Mayor's Downtown Impact Award event.
Well, Kickstart Kids, the program started by Chuck and Gina Norris, is in full swing in Bryan ISD, and we recently held our first belt ceremony.
About 130 Davila Middle School students demonstrated martial arts moves and discipline in a December 3rd belt ceremony attended by Kickstart Kids founders Chuck and Gina Norris.
We started this program, for you that are not really familiar with Kickstart Kids, we started this program 18 years ago in Houston with one school, 150 children, and now we currently have 6,500 kids in the program. We have graduated 70,000 kids over the last 18 years.
The students were awarded the rank of yellow belt by their instructor Ramel Gargolas and showcased the Kickstart program for parents and family members in attendance. Students demonstrated techniques learned during their first semester in the program and even impressed the crowd with board-breaking moves.
Parents, just want to let you know, these are the real deal. They're not cracked. They're not fixed. No, they're not glued together either. Okay? It's a real deal. Okay? Breakers, are you ready? Yes, sir. Focus and concentrate. Breaker number 1, when you're ready. You may start when you're ready. Key on left.
An elite Kickstart demonstration team from Houston performed a high-energy routine, while the Davila demo team showcased some moves of their own. Mr. Norris spoke to students and parents about the importance of making good choices and setting goals for the future. Kickstart Kids is a martial arts character education program which began in 1990 and is now in place in 43 schools in the Houston, Dallas, Galveston, and Central Texas areas.
Good job!
Well, congratulations to those students on receiving their belts, and even though some of them may be a little young to remember Chuck Norris's movies, I bet it was still a pretty big deal to be able to meet him.
It really was, not only for the kids but their parents as well to get to see him. We were just thrilled to have him and want to say thank you for Chuck and Gina Norris for attending.
Each year, the City of Bryan's mayor, as well as some council members, band together to raise money before the holidays for the Salvation Army. With the ringing of the bell, it was time again for the Salvation Army's Mayor's Challenge. It was the 4th year for the challenge, and it was no different as years past. Bryan Mayor Jason Byansky was at the Bryan Walmart, and his competitor, College Station Mayor Nancy Berry, was at the College Station Walmart. As in years past, the Bryan Mayor, this time Jason Byansky, won at an almost 2-to-1 margin. He raised $3,000, while over in College Station, Mayor Berry raised $1,000, and Walmart kicked in $2,000 to help out. Councilmembers Mike Sutherland and Richard Cortez took to the streets, accepting donations from passerbys on Freedom Boulevard. In all, nearly $6,000 was raised for the biggest winner, the Salvation Army of the Brazos Valley.
Well, if you follow sports at all, you'll know that athletes suffering concussions has been a hot topic recently. We sat down with the Bryan athletic staff and a local physician to talk about how Bryan ISD deals with this important issue.
The governing body for Texas Public School Sports has approved new rules for concussions that require athletes to set out at least 1 day after sustaining a head injury. The UIL unanimously adopted the recommendation of its medical committee, and the new guidelines go into effect August 1st. The UIL currently allows players to return to action if they show no concussion symptoms for only 15 minutes. The new rules require them to set out the rest of the day and return only after a licensed medical professional clears them. 53% of public schools in Texas don't have a full-time certified athletic trainer on staff, and a third of public schools in Texas don't even have weekly access to a certified athletic trainer. Not only do Bryan high schools have 4 state licensed and national certified athletic trainers on staff, they have established working relationships with local physicians, including a specialist from the Texas Brain and Spine Institute who worked with our head athletic trainer in developing their own set of guidelines for treating concussions.
Several years ago, about 7 years ago, Dr. Lobb, who works with the Texas Brain and Spine Institute and is one of our team physicians, Dr. Lobb and I sat down together and we wrote a concussion program or protocol for the school district because we had concerns that based on the guidelines in place, an athlete could be returned too quickly, too soon to competition and risk further injury. So our standard protocol for any athlete that sustains a concussion or is suspected of sustaining a concussion is that they're not allowed to return to contact activities until they've been symptom-free for a minimum of 7 days.
Yeah, I work directly with the trainers. If I'll get a phone call, usually the day after a concussion, they say, Dr. Lobb, we've had an athlete, they've had a concussion, and when can we get them in? We try to work them in that day or the next as soon as we can see them because we want to do that initial eval. That's when we do the history, also do a physical exam. We find out, how the mechanism of injury, how the concussion occurred, and then we'll go over with the trainer the severity of the concussion, what our recommendations are. Usually if we watch their symptoms over a period of time, and when they're symptom-free, the trainers can then start them on a graduated conditioning program, looking again for symptoms, and if they have a symptom recurrence, they'll give me a call. So we work real closely with the trainers. The guidelines are really set up to prevent the second impact syndrome, because that's certainly the most worrisome thing that could occur. Second impact syndrome usually occurs within the first 10 to 14 days after a first concussion. If you get a second concussion, you can have cerebral swelling and it can be fatal. So the guidelines were set up to prevent that second impact. But now we're looking a lot closer at multiple concussions. And so if patients even had some mild multiple concussions, they could have some cognitive issues that they start suffering, problems with memory, problems with thinking. There are some schools that they take the athlete out of a contact sport, but they're also taking them out of school. They're taking them out of bright lights and testing and reading and things like that because those stress the brain and that could have an impact. So they're looking at those things. There are some colleges that remove the athletes from the classroom also. We're not doing that at the high school level, but those are certainly more significant concussions that they've suffered. But we are looking into that data.
Well, Sandy, I know the UIL has guidelines for how long a student athlete has to sit out after they have a concussion. How does that compare to Bryan ISD's policy?
Well, the UIL recently adopted a rule that required athletes to sit out for 24 hours following a concussion. Bryan ISD has actually had a more stringent rule in place for 7 years now. We require our athletes to stay out for at least 7 days when they suffer a concussion.
Next, we'll show you Clinical Building Number 1, which is the next building to open up at the Texas A&M Health Science Center. The third main structure at Bryan's Texas A&M Health Science Center is beginning to look more and more like an actual building. Recently, several Bryan staffers had the opportunity to tour the building and see the progress. The building is named Clinical Building 1 and is actually owned by the same parent company that is constructing it, Skanska. It's a positive mix of public and private entities that will lease space from Skanska. Their first floor will house some sort of restaurant, as well as segments of Texas A&M, the Texas Brain and Spine Institute, and the Mary Crowley Foundation. The second floor is entirely Blinn College, including offices and labs. Blinn will also take up half of the third floor, the other half being filled by elements of the A&M system. And the top floor will have more space for the Texas Brain and Spine Institute, Blinn College, and Texas A&M. Clinical Building 1 is expected to be completed by the summer of 2011.
Well, Alan, that project continues to be impressive, and what an asset for the city.
Yeah, it really is. I think they'll be constructing new buildings out there for years to come. Next, we'll show you how the City of Bryan staff, as well as our mayor, participated in KBTX's Food for Families food drive. It's December, so that meant it was time again for the 15th annual Food for Families food drive. Each year, City of Bryan employees come out and help collect, sort, and box the donated food. Mayor Jason Bainski was present to hand out candy canes and thank the citizens for their donations. The effects of the food drive reached well beyond the Bryan city limits as the mayor said thanks and had a photo op with a group from Caldwell High School. Volunteering gives the mayor and City of Bryan employees an opportunity to help out the Brazos Food Bank reach its goals. This year, the food bank raised nearly $120,000 in donations and collected 109 tons of food. The Brazos Animal Shelter is having half off for the holidays until December 23rd. So depending upon when you're watching this story, it may be the perfect time to go pick out a pet. Each year, thousands of stray, lost, or surrendered animals end up at the Brazos Animal Shelter. The shelter's main goal is to return the animal to its rightful owner or find it a new home.
The main goal is obviously to take in animals that are homeless and to rehome those animals into long-term homes. We also take in animals from animal control that they have had called from the public to come pick up. We will also take in owner-surrendered animals, animals that people can't keep anymore. It's the shelter's mission this year to have no animals spend Christmas in the facility, that they all find a home. If they're looking to adopt, they are welcome to come by and look. And once you find the pet that you're interested in, you can fill out an application. It's pretty simple. It's one page, two-sided. Really what we're wanting to know is your landlord okay with that? Or if you already have pets that you're already making sure that those animals have their vaccinations up to date. In support of their goal, the shelter is running a half-price adoption special and extended holiday hours.
So excited.
Welcome to the Brazos Animal Shelter. How can I help y'all today?
We're here to get puppies.
Well, just one puppy.
Well, let's go see what we have. And here are the puppies I was telling you about.
Oh my gosh, they are so cute.
If y'all want, we can go play with them outside.
It's half off for the holidays until December 23rd, so come and adopt a pet or several.
You know, maybe we should get all of them.
Well, that's all the time we have today for this final new episode of 2010.
That's right, you can watch new Bryan Living and Learnings starting in January. I'm Alan Brugman.
And I'm Sandy Ferris. Thanks for watching.